Item 10C, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an energy services agreement with Tanco Lighting, Inc. for LED streetlight conversion services in the amount of $993,664 and appropriating $942,790 from the Capital Fund Reserve to cover the agreement cost and a $99,366 contingency amount.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. We have come before you in the past with an update on replacing our existing streetlight fixtures. As you know, we have approximately 2,100 streetlights throughout the city. 95% of them are the Cobra head, as you see in the majority of the streets in the area. We have about 5% of them are ornamental, which you see basically in downtown and some in the Bay Hill area. We've been having three main intentions of looking at replacement fixtures. One was we wanted to get better illumination. We want to get away from this orange glow, have better visibility, better to recognize people, cars, facial features. We wanted to get better electricity usage out of this, lower electric bill substantially if possible. And we wanted to have better reliability and less failure of these fixtures. So what we did was we looked at the LED technology over a long period of time, and we watched it get better and better, more manufacturers coming into this type of business, creating fixtures that would apply to the streetlights. We contacted many other cities throughout the Bay Area and throughout California, and we tried to learn from their experiences and from their mistakes. We looked at the rebates available that would reduce down the cost for us. We looked at financing options as where do we actually get the funds to start the project, pay back through the savings. And we also looked at certain part of our system, which is regulated output or the series fixtures. There are approximately 350 out of the 2,100 that are on those series circuits, and we wanted to see what we can do with those. So over this period of time, the technology has improved tremendously. The prices have come down tremendously, but also the rebates have come down. Not to zero, but have come down quite a bit since we were looking at it in the first place. So we, at this point in time, based on all the experiences of other cities, based on the information we got from all the different manufacturers and contractors, the prices have come down to a point that we want to make a recommendation to you with a system that would work for our city. This will save electricity in the magnitude of approximately $100,000 a year. It has much better reliability. Instead of 3 to 5 years, we will have 10 to 20 years of life out of these fixtures. The visibility is vastly different and better. We coordinated with our police department, make sure that this is the type of light that would actually reduce our crime. It has reduced crime in other cities. And we also coordinated with our finance department as to how we're actually going to finance this and be able to pay back less than 10 years, hopefully 9 years, 8 perhaps, or even 7, depending on how the maintenance savings is going to come into effect. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to William Lee, our management analyst, to give you the details of our current recommendation.
Thank you, Ray. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. The streetlight replacement project is included in the adopted 14-19 CIP budget with the 3 main project goals that Mr. Razavi just mentioned, which are illumination and safety, reliability, and energy savings. The current lights that the city utilizes are high-pressure sodium and metal halide lights, and these lights are outdated and do not meet any of the 3 goals. As you can see from the chart, LED lights surpass high-pressure sodium and metal halide in all categories. The LEDs can reach a higher temperature, and this is achieved with a lower power usage compared to the high-pressure sodiums by about 60 to 70%. The high-pressure sodium lights use a lot of power but cannot reach a high temperature, which is why these lights emit that orange glow that we're used to. The wider lights from the LEDs can create a brighter, more accurate environment at night that more closely resembles daylight. The next couple of slides has some examples of lights that we've put up in the city. This slide is an example of a high-pressure sodium versus LED light, and this is near the Public Services Corporation yard on Huntington Avenue. So it's pretty clear even without before and after labels that which one is the before and which one will be the after. The high-pressure sodium light on the left has poor illumination and many dark spots, making pedestrians and cyclists difficult to see at night until they're up close. The LED light on the right side illuminates the whole road and will enable a clearer field of vision. And this slide just illustrates what the two fixtures look like. So on the left is the current high-pressure sodium lamp, and on the right is an LED fixture. So you notice this is on the same zoom, so the LED fixture is a lot smaller than the high-pressure sodium. This is an example of an ornamental post stop, a metal halide on the left and LED retrofit on the right. While the illumination difference is less noticeable here, the metal halide light on the left needs a far greater amount of power than the LED, so the energy savings will still be substantial. And here is a picture of the two fixtures, so you might notice that the outer shell will be the same. We are recommending a retrofit fixture, so only the fixture on the inside will be changed if approved. Back in April 2014, staff presented a project implementation plan to the council for converting the streetlights, beginning with a demonstration project, followed by a request for proposals. The plan was also presented to the Surface Infrastructure Committee in July 2014. The demonstration project focused on different LEDs at different temperature intensities, and it ran from early July to the end of August 2014. As you can see from the map, fixtures were installed on all types of roads within the city, and it included residential, minor and major arterial roads, and downtown. Residents were encouraged to submit feedback, and based on the feedback received, a majority preferred the lower temperature LED that produced a white light, opposed to the higher temperature one that produced the more bluish light. The most common concern from the feedback received was residents concerned with light glaring or bleeding into their homes at night. So during the installation process, if approved, these potential issues can be mitigated by adjusting the LED fixtures to a degree, but if further action needs to be taken, shields can also be installed on these fixtures to prevent the bleeding going to the homes. So staff released an RFP in September, and based on the proposals received, selected Tanko Lighting Incorporated as the most qualified vendor for this project. This project would have two stages. The first stage will include the vendor performing a comprehensive audit of the city's streetlights and poles. From this audit, it's estimated that about 30 poles will need to be replaced when the audit is completed. The audit will also include an update of the city streetlight inventory, as the current inventory that the city utilizes is based off of the utility bills. It will also include populating the lights into our GIS system to improve our overall infrastructure mapping. After the audit is completed, a plan will be developed to replace approximately 2,100 streetlights, with the majority, about 2,000, being the Cobra head fixtures, and the rest, about 100, being the decorative post stops on San Mateo Avenue and Bay Hill Drive. The plan will most likely involve converting the fixtures in sections, section by section, across the city, but that will be finalized when the audit is completed. Based on the demonstration project feedback, discussions with other cities, Tanko Lighting, and field testing, staff is recommending Leotech fixtures for the Cobra heads and Sensity retrofit fixtures for the post stops. And the city has brought the fixtures tonight should the council or anyone from the public wishes to view them. Stage 2 of the project will be for the regulated output or the RO circuits. The map below shows the locations of the RO circuits across the city. The RO circuits are on a series, which means it's a string of lights that shares the same power source, so it's similar to a string of holiday lights. It might be hard to see on the map, but the Crestmore area RO lights are highlighted in red. This is because those RO lights in that area would be replaced through the Crestmore reconstruction project and not through this replacement project. The diagram on the left side shows the current RO setup. So it's typically a string of 10 or more lights with one power source that's buried in the ground. So in order to deliver enough power to all the lights within the series, the power source needs to deliver enough power to each light, which means that each lamp in the series carries a high voltage. So currently, if the bulb goes out in the series, the entire series must be shut off in order to deal with the high voltage. As Mr. Rizavi mentioned earlier, the cost of LED fixtures has decreased to the point where the city can address some of the maintenance issues with the RO lights with a temporary solution, which is to install transformers on each RO circuit light to eliminate that high voltage. So the animation should pop up here. So once the transformers are installed, if a light fails, the bulb can be replaced like any other street light bulb because there would be a safe voltage in the actual bulb. The transformers would save a substantial amount of maintenance time through historical maintenance records that we keep. We estimate that about 80% of all malfunctions with the RO circuits are due to the lamp itself. So this would save a substantial amount of maintenance time. The cost to install these transformers is approximately $213,000. However, if the circuit power or the lines underground go out, the entire series will still shut off until the problem area can be identified and repaired. That is why the staff still recommends that the RO circuits be replaced in the future when adequate funding sources can be identified. The current total project cost estimate for replacing the entire RO series in the city is approximately $2 to $3 million. This slide shows a breakdown of the proposed project cost. It includes the conversion of the lights for the Cobra heads and the post ops, also the installation of the transformers, and it also includes the estimated replacement of the 30 street poles. It also includes a 10% contingency and about $34,000 for staff time. PG&E rebates are expected to be around $92,000, and also in the current CIP, there's already a $91,700 gas tax appropriation, so those two items are deducted. So the total appropriation request that the city is presenting tonight is $942,790. And after analyzing funding options and coordinating with the finance department, staff recommends that the funds be borrowed from the Capital Reserve Fund. So staff explored a variety of financing options, including a Department of Energy CEC loan with a 1% interest rate. However, this funding source is currently not available and not expected to be replenished for another 12 to 24 months, and there's currently a long waiting list of applicants for the future funding. Borrowing from the capital reserves will result in the lowest project cost due to the absence of interest payments, and currently there's about $6.5 million in the capital reserve fund. Payback of the project cost will be through the energy savings that can be achieved through the conversion. Since PG&E rates are fixed and based on wattage, the energy savings will be seen immediately after conversion and is estimated to be about $100,000 a year. And as Mr. Rizavi mentioned earlier, a full payback of the project cost is expected within 9 years. It's important to note that that payback calculation does not include future maintenance savings, and if those calculations were to be included, the project could be paid back within 7 to 8 years. There are alternative funding options available, including private financing, which is available immediately. The downside is the interest rates for those are around 3 to 4%. Here we have estimated project timelines. With council approval tonight, the comprehensive audit would take place in April to May, and with the followed by the Cobra head post-op and transformer installations expected from June to October. And again, we recommend replacing the RO series at a later date to be determined once funding sources can be identified. So that concludes my presentation, and I'd like to mention that tonight we also have Jason Tanko from Tanko Lighting here, should the council have any technical questions. Thank you for your attention, and at this time, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of staff at this time? Ken?
Through the chair. You mentioned the series, the RO fixtures as temporary, and then to be determined when to spend when we have a $2 to $3 million funding source. What if we don't? And what is temporary? And tell me about assuring us that the Crestmore neighborhood is safe to have ongoing lighting even with these new transformers.
The Crestmore neighborhood actually will not have transformers. They will be replacing as part of the construction project.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
yes. But the rest of the city, which would be approximately 300, a little over 300 lights, those would be on 7 circuits, and those circuits will have problems in the future. However, with the transformers would take care of approximately 80% of our maintenance follow-up on those circuits. In other words, the transformers would make the street light separate from the circuit itself. So the street light, all the wiring in the street lights would be normal, just like any other street light. You can change the fixture, you can put the LED fixture on it. There will be no problem with the lights popping because of the high voltage or any kind of fluctuation in the voltage. What will remain is from the street light down into the conduits, into the ground where the line runs. So that area would have problems in the future until we do a replacement project, once the financing is.
I'm aware of the problems that we have in the same type of connections on El Camino Real. Mm-hmm. So what is historically, what are the problems that we have, the 20% of problems that we have in those neighborhoods with these series connections?
Normally the lines, some of these lines, they're very poor condition, and they get cut. Somehow they just get disconnected they might get hit with a shovel, they might get hit through the construction, or they may just develop inherent problem in the line itself. So until we actually take these lines and put a new conduit in and put a brand new wire through them, they're going to have these problems. And the issue is, these are 7 different locations throughout the city, and in each location you actually have to cut the street and put the line in or bury it behind the sidewalk. So we have to make sure that the conduits and the lines are done
So either through age or through construction?
Correct.
That's what happens. Okay.
It could be just planting a tree.
Yeah.
That it would, affect the line. You dig down and the line gets impacted.
If I could just interrupt for just a second, there's no change really except for the limited improvement
No, I
that the
understand that,
transformers would
yeah.
provide. So it would be status quo.
My other question is, I realize we're going to have all these cost savings and payback through cost savings, payback through, do we have a payback? The staff has finance, do we have a payback plan? I mean, would it be unreasonable to just say, let's put $100,000 every year back into the reserve? I mean, we know through previous, communities and everything, that we're going to have significant savings. and yes, you have the disclaimer that, could be some maintenance here or there, whatever. Why not just put it in the resolution that we're going to pay back $100,000 every year?
The payback, Councilmember Ibarra, is actually going to go up as we're based on the LS2 rate, as it's called by PG&E, and it's a fixed rate per streetlights. And our basic streetlights, for example, we pay between $5 to $6 per month per streetlight. That's going to drop down to about $2 to $3.
No, I'm
right.
fully,
Yes.
and that's great. That's great. But that just means that you don't write a bigger check.
Mm-hmm.
So let's write the big check, but just put the savings back into the reserve. That's not your issue, but.
Yeah. I think that's totally doable.
Yeah, I do like that. Yeah, that is our goal. At year end, when we are closing the books, to actually move that money into the capital reserve first. Because it is a fixed rate, so we do know. I mean, just to give you an idea, per month, we're currently paying $14,500. It'll go down to $5,400 a month. Annually, it's $1,740 or $174,000. It'll go down to $65,000. So that's a savings of $109,000 the first year, and we anticipate that will increase. So, and then that's not including the maintenance costs. So we'll monitor it, and finance will move that at year end. So if you want to put it in the resolution, that's fine, but we plan on doing it anyway because I want that money back.
Okay. Anyone else? Michael?
Through the chair, just to follow up on that question, so currently, do we increase, because I don't recall seeing this when we do the budget, and is there an annual increase that we allocate for the increase in electrical cost for that? Has that been a line item that traditionally goes up every year?
Each year, the departments are charged with estimating utility costs, electrical costs for all city facilities, including the streetlights, and those are estimated based on rate information and the utilization and historical expenditure information. So I can't say that they have always gone up, but they are analyzed every year and adjusted accordingly.
Okay, so that number should be going up. And then
Should, correct.
there's an additional cost savings from maintenance that we won't be doing on the older type thing, so that number would make it even bigger, and I'm assuming that would also go toward the payback to accelerate our timeframe?
You're correct, Councilmember Salazar. We're going to monitor the maintenance. These lights will have 10-year warranty on the parts. Not on the labor. The labor would be 1 year through TANCO, but 10 years through the parts. So we expect to save quite a bit from not having to replace these lights, which usually currently last between 3 to 5 years. So with them lasting over 10 years, we should expect to see savings, and we will monitor that, and we could bring it back to you and report on it.
What sort of contract do we have right now? I know we outsource the replacement of the lights.
We have a contract with Flower Electric, and once we encounter problems, they will go in and find out what the problem is, and we have certain number of lights in stock that we bring in and replace and try to fix the old ones as it's taken down.
So we'll continue to
We will continue to
that
have
service through
correct,
them?
Correct.
Okay.
Continue to have service.
There's no, it's on a per,
It's hourly, correct.
it's hourly, so there's no prepayment or some expectation of a base cost that, okay.
No.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Action by the council?
Through the chair, if I may, I can't believe it's been probably 4 terms I've been campaigning for better streetlights. I think it's great. I live a block away from Millbrae, and they have the LEDs for about a year now. So I'd love.
Actually, these are better than the ones in Millbrae.
Well, then let's approve this resolution. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salazar.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.